Welcome to the DesignConcreteFormwork.com Material Library Tutorial. This tutorial discusses a material library page on DesignConcreteFormwork.com and how it relates to your formwork design. First, let's log into the account as typical using our username and password and fill in the CAPTCHA code as appropriately. Logged in, the material library is always located at the top bar and can be accessed from any location in the design facilitator. First, note that the top option gives you an ability to make a hard copy of everything in your material library print file. Let's print it out and see what's currently available. Each type of material is categorized accordingly: sheathing, framing material, which is material for walls as well as suspended slabs, wall ties, which only consist of ties, and shoring material. Print out or save accordingly to your desires. The first category of the material library is sheathing. Sheathing, if you'll recall, comes into direct contact with the freshly placed concrete, whether it's walls or suspended slabs. Regarding pricing, unlike all the other materials, sheathing only allows for purchase price. The other options, such as framing, wall ties or shoring, allow for rental rates or purchase rates. This is because sheathing typically is not a rental type item. You can edit the sheathing by clicking on the edit feature, change the name, the price, or any of the structural properties. Note that these structural properties for sheathing are for a 12-inch wide strip. Similarly, you can delete an item if you also choose to. To add new sheathing, simply click Add New Sheathing and fill out the appropriate blocks accordingly. Let's add a quick sample here and see what it looks like. Note how it's gone to the second page now, sheathing example. Let's go ahead and delete it. Alright, so framing are for walls, studs, and wailers, and suspended slabs are made up of joists and stringers. These are basically linear type items, and they are used to support the sheathing. So on walls, studs support the sheathing, and then the wailers support the studs, and then of course wall ties support the wailers. And in the case of suspended slabs, joists support the sheathing and stringers support the joists. And in the case of suspended slabs, shoring supports the stringers. So framing is a very important section of the material library because it covers so many different categories. It covers 4 different types of elements in your formwork design. So similarly to sheathing, you can edit these properties accordingly, but for the most part you'll just be adjusting your prices. Over here is an option where you can choose to exclude it from your analysis if you want. This column here is in a place where you can either designate how a material is used, whether it's for studs or wailers, studs only or wailers only. Similarly, joists and stringers can be designated on how they're used. So for example, a 2x4 A double would probably not be used as a stud, but would be used as a whaler, whereas a single 2x4 would probably be used as a stud, but not a whaler on wall design work. Other points of interest are these various structural properties. Note that there's two section moduluses. One is for the top and one is for the bottom. Typically, these are symmetric, but in some proprietary sections, like Aluma beams, for example, the section modulus on the top and the bottom are different. Section moduluses on the top are the ones that are in bearing, are going to be next to the sheathing. Moment of inertia is self-explanatory. BH cubed over 12 in inches. That's for a rectangular shape. The depth is, for a 2x4, for example, the depth is going to be 3.5 inches. Note that if you wanted to change the 2x4 flat for whatever reason, this dimension of depth now would become 1.5 inches, whereas the thickness would be 3.5 inches. That would be for a single. This is for a double. That's why it's 3 inches wide currently on the thickness. Anyhow, let's cancel those changes, and let's move on to the wall ties. Wall ties are quite a bit simpler than the other ones. They're fairly straightforward. One of the big differences about wall ties as well as shoring is that there's installation rates. So on your design, wall ties will be included as far as labor goes, and if you recall on the wall design feature, there is a portion where you can plug in the labor rate. But anyhow, this is a production rate for installing and removing wall ties, and this is a production rate here for what it takes to patch that particular tie. And then there's an option again on the wall scenarios on whether you want to patch or not. So these are where the production rates for those are kept. And like the wall framing, you can edit the name, the capacity, pricing, or rental rate. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the wall ties have a rental rate portion, and that's because it'll compare whether, based on how long your project is, whether you should be renting or purchasing for the most economical design. Like the other sections, new wall ties can be added simply by clicking on the wall tie add and adding in the appropriate information. Capacity is simply what it's rated for breaking, and here are some default production rates. Let's go ahead and insert that to see what it looks like. There's your new wall tie sample. We'll delete it for now. And now it's gone. So for the last option is shoring. So concrete design formwork allows for two different types of shoring. One is the frame type, and the other is the post. So on frame types, you always have two dimensions, the width and then the cross bracing, as well as the height and capacity that go along as well. For posts are point loads, so you only have a height. And structural capacity will consist primarily of capacity only in pounds per leg. Like the wall ties, there's also a installation and remove portion to account for the labor involved. Like the other sections, we can edit these if for whatever reason we're a lot faster or slower on certain jobs. And of course we can modify the purchase rates or rental rates as well. And like the other sections, there's an opportunity to add new shoring as well. This completes the Material Library Tutorial section of Design Concrete Formwork. For more detailed information on the other sections, please see Projects, Wall Tutorial, or Suspended Slabs. Thank you.